I'm 19 and I'm studying finances,
Hmm.
but I'm gonna graduate by the end of the year. And so far, we've given no lessons whatsoever on how to invest. So, what material would you recommend for someone who has absolutely no experience to like get caught up to speed?
Okay. So so here's what I would say. Well, gosh, this is kind of hard. I mean, you need to educate yourself on finances, obviously. A really long book that explains a lot of things is actually Tony Robbins' book, Money Master of the Game. It's really long, but it explains a lot of things about what happens in the financial markets. I wouldn't necessarily follow all the advice in that book because it's geared towards a very, very conservative investment strategy that will not make you rich. There's a book right here that you should read. It's called The Millionaire Fast Lane. Read this book, okay, by MJ DeMarco. But as far as like, but let me kind of take things a little bit of a different direction. You should obviously learn about how the market works and options and puts and market makers and all of that stuff. And like I said, Money Master of the Game will cover a lot of that. Millionaire Fast Lane will cover more of the business aspect of it. But here's the thing, and this is what, you know, what I think is really critical, especially since you're 19. Do not invest yet. Well, when I say do not invest, what I mean by this is that it only makes sense to invest money when you have a lot of money. When you don't have a lot of money, and this is why, because let me tell you, the cost of figuring out the investment is an overhead cost. Okay, so let's say that, because people ask me all the time, John, how should I invest $1,000? Okay, and I'm like, okay, you have, how long did it take you to make the $1,000? And it's like, okay, well, you know, some of the guys, let's say that you're making $50 an hour. Okay, if you're making $50 an hour, it costs you 20 hours to make the $1,000, right? So I'm like, well, what have you looked at so far? Oh, I looked at Bitcoin. I was looking at this. I read this book on this. I was reading this book on stocks. I'm looking at these stocks. I'm looking at these, and I'm like, how many hours have you invested trying to figure out what to invest $1,000 in? Oh, I don't know, maybe like 30 or 40 hours. And I'm like, that's stupid. Your return on your investment is already negative. Like, think about how stupid that is. You could have spent that 40 hours making $2,000 more. Do you know what kind of return that is? Right? That's a 300% return on your $1,000. So that's your answer. When you only have $1,000 to invest, guess what you invested in? You. You invested in you. You increase your skills, you increase your earning potential, you work more money, you use the money to make your earnings better. You start building a business. Even when you have $10,000, does it really make sense? Are you going to make a lot of money? Even if you buy Bitcoin at $1,000 and it goes up to $50,000, big fucking whoop. It doesn't change your life. It doesn't matter, right? Okay. So what you got to do is you got to take the money that you're making when you're making a little bit of money and you invest it all in you. You don't worry about index funds. You don't do S&P 500 ETFs or any of that shit. It doesn't matter because you're not going to make money. Even with compounding interest, okay, everyone should do this, right? This is a great exercise. I make every one of my students do this, which is I say, go look at a compounding interest calculator online, okay? There's 3 variables. There's time, okay? There's initial investment, and there's interest rate or return. Play with those numbers and see what your $1,000 invested or your $10,000 is going to be, how long it's going to take you to become a millionaire, okay? With a 7 or 8% rate of return. It's a long fucking time. All right. So you want to start with $100,000 or $200,000. You don't, or even 20,000 is fine, like investing in real estate, but you don't want to start with a little bit of amount of money. Instead, you take the little bit amount of money and you invest in yourself so you can make more money. Just like I was telling the other guy, get a better job. You're making $80,000 a year. Invest some money in a resume writing service, right? Get to the point where you're making 100,000. That's a better investment. Now you've got some money and now you've got some capital to invest, and now it makes sense. But if you're playing around trying to figure out where do I invest $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000, fuck, it's a waste of time. You'll waste your time. Just build a business. Spend the time building a business. Spend the time making more money. And when you have money, then you start to look at, if you're going to try to figure out where you're going to invest $100,000, okay, that's worth doing some research. That's worth figuring some shit out, because if you invest $100,000 right, you can make some serious money off of that, or $1 million. You can make some serious money off of that, but you're not going to make shit off of $1,000 or $10,000 or $20,000. I don't care. You just have to fucking compound for 50 years in order for, and look at it. I mean, I'm not lying. Look at a compound interest calculator and figure out what your actual rate of return is going to be. Because people say, oh, S&P 500, the stock market returns 7% per year, on average well, forget about capital gains taxes in that. And then even at 7.5% per year, shit, that it's not going to be much. You're not going to be rich. Okay. You got to have some other plan. So with that said, what my vehicle of investment choice is always real estate. Leverage real estate has the highest return, better than anything else, with the highest level of security if you do it right. So research that. That's what I would look at. There's a book I'll recommend. It's called The Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller. He's the guy that started the Keller Williams real estate agency or franchise. That's probably the best book that I have found on real estate investing. But yeah.
Can you repeat the name? The Millionaire Real Estate?
The Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller.
Okay.
And that's got some charts in there that will show you exactly what's going to happen as far as over time, how your investments will grow over time. So.
All right, man. Thank you so much. One last question, a quick one. I've been tinkering with Forex trading. I'm using a demo account for 2 months now. Would you recommend me keeping up on that, or should I cut it out?
Yeah, stop that shit. It's a waste of time. It's just a waste for a couple of reasons. Why, right? And it's even not good to be invested in the market at all because it fucks you up because you lose your concentration. You need to be working on business shit. You need to be building a business, right? Forex trading is not a business. It's something you have to do every day. It's a job. Even if you get good at it and you can make some money, believe me, I traded options. I traded complex options, iron condors, all kinds of shit for a while. And I one day I was looking, I was like, you know what? Because here's the thing, okay? If you're going to trade options or even Forex, anytime you're trading a leverage asset, it's just like poker. It's the exact same skill set as poker, right? And a good poker player knows that at any point in time, you never put more than 2% of your bankroll on the table. Same thing with trades. If you're an option trader or a Forex trader, you never put more than 2% of your entire bankroll into a trade. Well, what does that mean? That means you got to have 50 active trades going if you want to capitalize on all of your assets. If you're managing 50 active trades, it's a fucking job. So either you're doing a job and you're managing 50 active trades, all right, at a time in order to really get your full return on your money. Otherwise, it's going to be going to waste. Or you're playing a risky fucking game because if you're putting more than 2%, there's a thing called variance. It exists in poker, it exists in the market. Okay, variance means that the reason why poker players, professional poker players that don't go broke, only put 2% of their bankroll at any time on the table into a buy-in, okay, is because variance can hit you so hard that you can play perfect poker and you lose your entire buy-in, and then you lose it again, and 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 you lose it again. But it's not likely to happen 50 times. It could happen, but it's a very, very small, it's an astronomical odds. That's why it's safe to put 2% at any given time, because you're going to beat variance. But if you put 10% of your bankroll into a poker game of buy-in, it's very likely that 10 times, regardless of how good you play, you just get shitty luck. Your first hand is kings against someone else's aces, and you go all in, and you lose your money. It can happen 10 fucking times in a row, and you're done. And the exact same principle applies to the markets, and that's why smart options traders and leveraged asset traders, commodities, future Forex traders, that they only put 2% of their bankroll. So they have to be active traders and trading all day long. So it's just a fucking waste of time. It's a waste of effort. And at the end of the day, if that hasn't convinced you already, it's the reason why I stopped playing poker and trading options is because it's completely pointless. It adds no value to the world. And you feel like shit because what are you doing? You're just swapping around money. You're just taking someone else's money. It's not actually creating value. So do something that creates value, because what's going to be more important in life than money is fulfillment.
Yep. Great stuff.
Arman, thank you so much.
Good stuff.